I was playing League of Legends with my favorite waifu when someone on Discord decides to bother me. I mean, Discord is a program that actually tells people you're playing a video game. Why would they think it's a good opportunity to bother me exactly when they see that I'm playing? And this guy is adamant about it. Like, he keeps messaging and messaging, so I'm like, okay, let's all tap to see what's going on. And he's asking me if I know about the crisis that is happening in the German democracy. To which I started laughing in real life. Like, legitimately, this was really funny at the time. It's like, what do you mean German democracy? You know, this is what made me laugh. It's like asking me to talk about the American monarchy or the women's rights in Saudi Arabia or the human rights in China. These are topics that are funny when you mention them. But no, this guy was serious. He wanted me to talk about the problem in the German democracy. And I'm looking at it, and yeah, the BBC is talking about it, and the mainstream media is like, oh my god, this is serious business. Now, usually I try to avoid topics about Germany because it ends up me talking to a wall. Last time I made a video about this, it got blocked in certain countries. Can you guess which country blocked my video? That's right, it was blocked in Germany. Now, I don't know why, because there was no hate speech in that video, and everything that I talked about was from mainstream media outlets. But apparently, for some reason, it got blocked in Germany. Now, YouTube didn't tell me why. I don't know what I did. But you can still find that video on BitChute. So, you know, that type of thing kind of dissuades me from talking about Germany, because it's like, well, if I can't reach the German people while talking about Germany, then what's the point? Not that I do have a lot of them, but for the few ones that I do, that are subscribed to me, I think that every now and then I should talk about their country. So the video in question was talking about what I consider to be crisis in German democracy. Like, for example, restrictions on the freedom of the press, which is done through the new Network Enforcement Act. Now, the Network Enforcement Act gets to decide what is fake news and what isn't. They're like, oh my god, did they find the truth machine? Did they create an AI that is capable of finding truth from fiction? Well, no, they found the next best thing, an ex-Stasi member. And for those of you who don't know what a Stasi is the secret police during communism. And communism is the ideology renowned for transparency, respecting human rights, civil discourse, and fighting fake news. I mean, the people from Chernobyl can definitely tell you about the openness regarding information that the communists had at the time. So I do applaud the Germans for making use of the skill sets of certain people that used to be Stasi members. Now, that's just one thing, you know. I was like, okay, now that might be a problem, a democratic crisis. Then you look at political violence that happens in Germany. You see, there is a party called Alternative for Deutschland, which was actually started by members from Merkel's party. They don't really mention that a lot, but for some reason, they're considered bad people. Now, I'm not really sure why, considering that it's illegal in Germany to be a Nazi. Like, it's against the law. It's against the law to incite violence. It's against the law to incite hatred. They have very strict hate speech laws. And yet this party is legal, which leads me to assume that maybe the press is full of shit. Now, I don't doubt that a couple of members might be radicals and they might have a couple of crazy ideas. But then again, name me a party that's pure and doesn't have a couple of members that say shit every now and then. But it seems that the reason the AfD are absolutely evil to the core is because they disagree with Merkel's policies, especially regarding migration. Now, they don't want to isolate Germany from all immigration. They just don't want millions of people coming in at the same time with very little possibility of integration. And apparently because of that, they're like the Nazis. Because what I do know about the Nazis is that the worst thing they did was to limit immigration into Germany. That is, you know, the epitome of what made a National Socialist a National Socialist. I'm like, okay, right. So, because the journalists tell us they're bad people, not the courts, mind you, not the law, no, the activists and the journalists, then violence done against them is the natural way in Germany. And in my video, I talked about a couple of cases where people from the AfD had their cars burned down, had their homes broken into, and one of their leaders was even hospitalized. And apparently, he claims he was hit with a crowbar in his head. Now, I can't show you the image on YouTube, but you can Google it and you can find it. there is a big hole where his forehead used to be. So I kind of understand why someone would come to the conclusion that a blunt object was brought to this guy's head. But apparently the BBC made an article saying, no, 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 no. See, he is lying. He is full of shit. You should never trust a person from the AFD. He wasn't hit with a crowbar. I'm like, okay. I see. Well, that changes everything. You know, he was hospitalized, but not hit with a crowbar, which completely changes the story. And, okay. But so that was the video, right? I just wanted to show how democracy is made in Germany. At this point, I don't even know why people go to vote. I guess the moral of the way is who has the numbers, right? So just make a reality TV show where people have at it, you know, like the one with the killer robots or something. Like, make it entertaining if that's it, you know. So I from Romania can laugh as well. I generally don't understand, like, if violence is now the correct way of doing politics, you know, in my country we call that terrorism, but in Germany it's normal. Apparently intimidating people that run for office is also normal. And when certain people asked, can you please hide our names and addresses? The answer was no from the police. So, okay, so that's why it amuses me when I hear the word German democracy. You know, to me it's like, oh. And then you look at the parties, right? Like, Germany has many parties. They have the extreme far left, the left, and like the only party that you could say it's right wing in a way, I guess. I mean, not according to American standards, if you were to put that. Like, for them, a Republican is probably even more far right than Hitler, but it's the AFD. Now, you need to understand, when you have a multi-party system, in order to govern, parties have to make political alliances in order to form a majority. And this brings us to the state called Thuringia. Am I pronouncing it right? Thuringia. And in Thuringia, the far-left parties wanted to prevent the extremist far-left parties from putting their guy into office. But no one had the numbers to vote for their guy. So what ends up happening is the scene from Pirates of the Caribbean, where they vote for the Pirate King, and everyone votes for themselves, except for Jack Sparrow, who votes for someone else, and thus breaks the deadlock. And what happens here is that the extremist far left vote for their guy, the far left votes for their guy, and the AFD votes for the far left. And thus the far left wins, and the extreme far left loses, much to the dismay of everyone. So what happens now is that Juan Kimmerich gets elected. But you see, he got elected with tainted votes. He got elected by using the votes of the bad people. As such, he is a bad person himself. And Merkel was very disappointed by this. She demanded that the election to be declared invalid, and also fired a high-ranking politician because he had the audacity to congratulate Kemmerich for winning these elections. Now, Kemmerich decided to step down, and luckily so, because he now needs police protection in order to defend him against Antifa, which attacked the bureaus of the FDP, declaring his party now to be a Nazi party, because I suppose that's how it works. If the AFD votes for you, then yeah. So, this is the situation. What exactly do you want me to say? It's not normal. It's not how democracy should work. It is very concerning that millions of Germans who vote for a legal party, the AFD, are unrepresented in society. But not only that, the morality is that if someone votes for the AFD, your voice doesn't even matter. Like, you're the scum of the scum. You're the lowest of the low. And the BBC wrote an editorial saying that never again. Now, last time I checked, never again means to never allowing genocides to happen. But I didn't think that never again means never having non-communist parties into government. Like, again, if you compare the Republicans from the United States with the AFD, hell, no, let's put it this way. If you compare the Tories from Britain with the AFD, the Tories are more right-wing. I mean, I could go on policy after policy. I could go on things after things. Like, this is a party that started by people from the CDU, for the love of God. It's just that the people who are into power have been used to having power for so long that they do not want their authority to be questioned. So they're using this tactic of pointing the opposition as being demonic from the gates of Satan himself, in order to encourage violence on the streets against them, in order to delegitimize them in every way, and in order to make sure that they remain into power, which, in my opinion, is quite disgusting and is not the way democracy should function. But the hell do I know about the country which regulates its mainstream media? Which is something common in Europe, by the way. Ever since the European Union, I think my country also has like a council of audiovisual that regulates what people can and can't say on television. And they want to push this into the mainstream media, into social media as well. Like Facebook, for example, is forced to comply by the German government. Like, yes, an American company is forced to comply by the German government regarding what can and can't be posted on social media. Concerning, I were to say, but, what do I know? Human rights and all that, free speech, human right, freedom of expression, bleh. Horrible things, I know. The world would be so much better without them, wouldn't it? Maybe this is why the communists constantly say, like, healthcare should be a human right, because they piss on human rights. They hate human rights, and therefore, if healthcare is a human right, they can piss on that as well. Huh? Maybe, I don't know. I'm not very smart. Not very intellectual person. I'm just looking at things that I find it dismaying. Maybe this isn't how it's supposed to be. Anyway, let me know what you think about my analysis. If you're from Germany, hopefully this video is going to manage to reach you. If not, well, I tried. You can find it on BitChute. And I do have another channel. Please check it out.